What is going on, everyone? Welcome into another edition of the Inside the GIAA show presented by the Beck Center. We got the Beck Center studios right behind us that we are live from, Richard. Super excited about tonight's show. Already we got a ton of people watching in. Tell us where you're watching from. Let us know who your favorite GIAA school is. We got a ton we're getting into tonight. We're breaking down the bracket because volleyball semifinals and state finals this Friday and Saturday, live from Rome, Georgia, Shorter University. Richard, your boy, will be on the call giving you all the action on GIAA.tv for a very affordable price. Cannot wait for that, Richard. Then we got the final regular season softball rankings. I know you're excited about that because next week we'll be in South Commons in Columbus, Georgia, breaking down the 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A state championships. And another week the rankings came out. Got some questions about them. We'll see who's number one in 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A as we head to that playoff stretch. And again, we are presented by the Beck Center. Thank you to Roger Beck and the Beck Center for being our presenting sponsor here on Inside the GIAA every Wednesday night in the Beck Center studios. And then, of course, on Friday, we got the High School Scoreboard Show. Big Rich, man, another great week around the association.
Drift, I am so excited to be here as we have got the volleyball semifinals at Shorter University on Friday and Saturday. I cannot wait. We will actually have the brackets for you as we just had the first and second round on Saturday, and the top four seeds in both classifications were the hosts, and we had a huge upset.
Huge.
As the number one seed in 2A, Georgia Christian goes down.
Oh, my goodness, man. That is pretty incredible. We'll talk about that. We kind of hashed on it and talked about it on Friday night, but we'll really get into it here. And we also have on a guy I love very dearly. He is very big in the association. He's basically the liaison. Absolutely. He is the guy that you talk to when it comes to where these sites are hosting these state championships, the guy that makes everything run smoothly. Mm-hmm. Kent Copeland. We're going to be having him on here in just a moment. Listen, when I got any problems, I go to Kent. I love Clint Morgan. But when I have any problems at a site or if I want to be taken care of, I want to know where the food's at, all I do is call my boy Kent, and Kent Copeland gets everything set up. He makes it. I'm telling you this right now. It is unbelievable to me, Richard, and I've heard from many people that have been in other associations. Nobody takes care of their schools in state championship matches and events better than the GIAA. From the hospitality room that everybody gets to eat and be a part of, if you're working in or whatever it may be, to how they treat their fans, it is top notch, and it's the reason why everybody loves being a part of the association. It's why it's a growing association, and why we want to put our stamp of approval of being the voice as a part of it.
Yeah, for the past 2 years, we've been able to be a part of many championships in the GIAA, and we appreciate what Kent Copeland does as far as logistics goes, and with the sites and those hospitality rooms. Man, I cannot get enough of those hospitality rooms. I'm telling you, that hospitality room in Statesboro was phenomenal.
Unbelievable, man. And being able to play at Georgia Southern, Mercer, Columbus State University, Synovus Park. Are you kidding me?
That?
Unbelievable. The venues that the GIAA goes and finds and makes sure their athletes get an opportunity to play in a place that they may never get to play in, like a Synovus Park, and they get the experience winning something as great as the state championship in those venues. And the guy behind getting those venues, Kent Copeland's going to be joining us here in just a moment. Cannot wait to talk to him. All right, Richard, first thing we're going to do is break down the volleyball brackets, because we got state championship semifinals coming up this week, and all the first and second rounds happened last Saturday, and we were live from a couple of Columbus schools, Brookstone and Pacelli. Got to see Stratford and Calvary play. You got to see Valwood and Old Dominion play, and Brookstone and Pacelli both won, and they advanced. So let's go ahead and throw up that graphic real quick, and we'll start with 2A semifinals. First, top side of the bracket of the 2A semifinals, Big Rich, we got Grace Christian taking on Augusta Prep. And then on the other side, Richard, we got Heritage and LaGrange happening.
So Grace Christian is the underdog going into this. They upset Georgia Christian, the number one seed. They're taking on the number 4 seed, Augusta Prep. Heritage, the defending 2A champions, taking on a LaGrange Academy team that has not made the semifinals in 15 years.
Wow,
LaGrange Academy, not too far from us. We're in Columbus. It's about an hour away, but this is a very talented team taking on the defending champions. This should be a lot of fun. The fun starts at Shore University at 10 o'clock in the morning. I got to make sure I'm up at 5 in the morning and head up to Rome. It's going to take about 3 hours to get up there, but I'll make sure I'll be there on the call as we have 4 fantastic volleyball matches for you on Friday.
Georgia Christian, the number 1 seed. Augusta Prep, number 4. They beat Oak Mountain, the number 5 seed, in that second round. So Grace Christian, number 1, taking on Augusta Prep, number 4. On the bottom side of the bracket, Richard, as I just made mention, Heritage, the number 2 seed. They took down Sherwood in the second round. And LaGrange, the number 3 seed, also hosted. They beat the 6 seed Holy Spirit Prep. So 2 versus 3, 10 and 11-30. Their championship will be on Saturday at 4 p.m. So that is 10 o'clock for Augusta Prep and Grace Christian. That's 1 and 4. 11:30 Heritage and LaGrange. All right, Richard, let's go to the other semifinals that are happening, and this is for the 3A classification. We got Kings Academy, the number 1 team, and many people thought, hey, the defending champion Bocelli, they were ranked 3rd, but Kings Academy played an incredible schedule this year. They won close to 30 games and a great season for Kings Academy. They were ranked number 2 last year, remember, heading into the semifinals. They took down St. Andrews. They take on the number 4 seed, Tallulah Falls. Tallulah Falls beat Loganville, the 5 seed, in that second round. That will be 1 p.m. on Friday. And, Richard, the number 2 seed, it takes on the number 3 seed. It's a rematch of last year's state championship game, Big Rich. It's number 2 Brookstone, who beat Valwood, the number 10 seed, who upset at number 7 Dominion Christian in that second round. And Pacelli, they took down number 6 Calvary Christian. So we got a rematch of the state championship in the semifinals, Richard, between 2 rivals in Brookstone and Pacelli. So Kings Academy, Tallulah Falls, Brookstone, Pacelli. Thoughts on that 3A classification?
I really think that this is what we want to see. I know that you have the Kings Academy that's kind of flying under the radar. They get the number 1 seed, but Brookstone and Pacelli, 2 rivals in Columbus that have battled. Pacelli has won the series 2-1. Brookstone finally gets over the hump and beats them in 3 sets. And Brookstone was taking on a very good Valwood team. They were the number 10 team that beat Dominion Christian. And Pacelli, luckily, they got a bye in that first round, and they ended up taking on Calvary Christian. That actually went to 4 sets. Calvary was definitely a formidable opponent for Pacelli. And I think that this is the matchup that Brookstone has been wanting to see, because they feel, as the number 2 seed, they feel that they're in the same class as Pacelli. And it's going to be just an exciting, just an exciting semifinal matchup.
Well, there is your 2A and 3A volleyball bracket, Richard. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're talking to the man, Kent Copeland, about why we decided with Shorter University in Rome, Georgia. We're going to break down all logistical stuff coming up, plus talk about a little bit about softball that we got next week. We're going to get a breakdown from one of the head men in charge of the GIAA, Kent Copeland, coming up next on Inside the GIAA, GIAA.tv.
GIAA.tv now brings you more live coverage of more sports than ever before. Announcing GIAA.tv Lite with live coverage of swim, wrestling, cheer, and more. GIAA.tv Lite is the next best thing to being there. From one screen, you will hear the crowd, see the action, the scores, the stats, and more. With no play-by-play or instant replays, GIAA.tv Lite is half the price of our regular broadcast. Announcing GIAA.tv Plus. With all of your fan favorites, GIAA.tv Plus now adds volleyball, softball, all-star football, and more. Featuring all the play-by-play, instant replays, multiple angles, and more, all for less than the cost of 2 adult tickets to the event. Don't miss 1 second of the action all year long, only on GIAA.tv.
Everyone inside GIAA in the Beck Center Studios. It's what we do every Wednesday, but let's go ahead and bring him on. Chris, throw him up. It's part of our Commissioner's Corner. His name is Kent Copeland. Kent, how has the year been in 2025, 2026?
It's been a good one. Can you hear me? Am I on?
We can hear you great. You sound awesome.
Hey, well, we are getting it off the ground this weekend in that first sport of volleyball in our high school state tournaments. And it's been a great year so far. Things have been running very well. and we're hoping that we continue that trend throughout the whole year.
All right, Kent, let's start with this. Shorter University is the site of the volleyball state championships. We'll go there first. What was last year was at Heritage. This year we moved to Rome, Georgia, which is awesome playing at a university like Shorter. But what was the reason behind picking this, and how excited are you to be there?
Well, great. We're very excited to be there. Our volleyball coaches have been wanting us to go to a college. And we had the opportunity to work it out with Shorter to get in there. They're on the road Friday night. So, we have the facility to ourselves. But we want every sport. You mentioned it in your show a minute ago. We're at Clingstones, or we're at Columbus, or we're at, Mercer or Georgia Southern, but volleyball has been at a high school for all these years. So we felt like this is the year, this is the time. Let's take it to the next step and let these athletes experience a college venue like all the other athletes in other sports have been doing.
Kent, most sports in the GIAA have 4 classifications. Why does volleyball only have 2? It seems like even the smaller schools have a volleyball team. Would it be a lot more teams in the 2A classification than the 3A classification?
Well, that is something we will look at this year. Matter of fact, it is on the table when Clint and I sit down in November. Truthfully about the matter, we want to have enough in each region. And in the South, volleyball is coming. In Atlanta and in the North, it's there. So we want to make sure that each one of our schools are can be represented and not having to drive all over. So single A and double A marry together, triple A and 4A marry together. And that's how we're able to have numbers. And when you have numbers, you don't see Brookstone and Pacelli playing until they get to the finals. Sometimes you definitely don't want to see that match before the semifinals for sure.
No doubt about it, Kent. And we're excited about this upcoming match. And I've made mention of this over and over again. The last couple of years, I've had the pleasure of doing more sports than the obvious, baseball, football, and basketball. One of them being volleyball, Kent. And there's a lot of excitement, man. I'm telling you, these girls get after it. I love the atmosphere. It's pressure ridden. I'm really looking forward to it. If you don't mind, kind of setting the stage. You've been a part of these, and how much fun it's going to be on Friday and Saturday, seeing these high-level volleyball players competing for a state championship.
Well, you guys made mention earlier, you could call it an upset. And I drove in from a cross-country meet to watch the Georgia Christian Grace game. And Georgia Christian had played them 4 times this year. But I can honestly say Grace was the better team when it counted that night. Grace has an 8th grader. She put on a show that she hadn't put on all year long. So Grace is well deserving, and I think Augusta Prep is a very good volleyball school traditionally. So that will be a good matchup. Heritage, as you mentioned earlier, also. I mean, we're talking about defending state champs. They have a very good volleyball program going. So LaGrange coming in for the first year. It's going to be a good battle. When you get to 4A, I'll just tell you right now. There's 4 people that can be state champions right there. They're all that good. The rankings were very, very close. Kings did come out on top. So they drew the number 1 slot, but I take nothing away from Tallulah, Brookstone, or Pacelli. And Pacelli, we saw what they had last year. They just are returning back what they did. So that's going to be a very good match. I did want to make mention how much growth Calvary has made just coming in the league a year or 2 ago to get there and play Pacelli to a very close game. I think Richard was at that game. So we have some very, very good volleyball. I don't anticipate very many 3-0 matches here. We might see some all the way to 5s in these rounds in AA and in AAA.
Ken, last year of the semifinals and finals were both in one day. You had 6 volleyball matches. This year, the semifinals are on Friday, the finals on Saturday. So you have 4 and 2, and that first match at 10 o'clock, and the second match is scheduled to go at 11:30. What was the logistics last year with the length of these games and having to prepare? Because you got to give the other team, once that volleyball match is done, you got to give that other team chances to warm up. Like, what's the time limit there when that first volleyball game ends? Do you have to start right at 11:30, or can you start earlier if that first match ends in less than an hour? How does that work out?
I will never start a match before the time on the bracket says, because I'm not going to have a parent or somebody miss even one set of their senior daughter's game. So, but let me back up and say this. Last year we played 6. If you remember, last year we had a hurricane. We had people out of school for 2 weeks, and we had to squeeze it down to where they played the semis in the morning and the finals in the afternoon. That was not the original schedule. The original schedule, our coaches 2 years ago wanted us to let them have one game one day, rest the legs, play for the championship the next day. So what you see is what we normally would have done last year had we not had a hurricane. That is big. On your times, we are setting the matches about an hour and a half apart. If a match goes 5, we know it'll go past the hour and a half. Talking with our officials and talking with other volleyball people, I had rather a match go a little long and make sure that everybody is there than to make people sit around 30 minutes, because I won't let them start before the time on the scheduled bracket is there.
I completely agree with you, Kent. And the last thing any of us want to do here at the GIAA is upset a mom or dad that's driving across the state to be able to see their grandbaby, their baby playing in a state championship. So trust me, we're all on board in that decision that you and Clint came up with. Final thing, Kent, obviously I was going to talk about softball. We can kind of save that for next week because we got South Commons, and that's going to be a lot of fun. The track cross country state championship coming up in 2 weeks as well, October the 25th. But final question here is, how can people get tickets? Is there any rules about bringing clear bags into Shorter University, or anything else you would like to get out for everyone around the state that's coming on Friday and Saturday?
Well, obviously they can go on our website and get their tickets anytime they want to, and come to the gate and have their ticket on their phone. We will also have our GoFan there with them taking a credit card or cash. At Shorter University, there is no clear bag thing like there was at Columbus with the Klingstones. Pretty much, you never trust anything in this world anymore, but we feel real good about our people and our fans, and we know that they're going to do the right things. And so we don't enforce that, quote, clear bag, or we don't make them walk through metal detectors yet. Let's put it that way. But that is something that I think the GIAA, just with their relationships with their schools and with their people and our administrators and our headmasters that will be there, we just feel like that they will take care of their people too. So we don't really have to go to that length yet.
Well, Kent, thank you so much for coming on. The biggest thing I just took away from this entire interview is the fact that you, Clint, Robert, all talked to the coaches. You heard their cry, which is, hey, we love for our girls to be able to play at a college university. And guess what y'all did? You delivered that. And they're going to be able to play at Shorter University. And this is where I keep talking about first-class operation, man. So thank you so much for coming on with us here this late night. And we'll see you Friday and Saturday for sure.
Take care. Y'all have a great evening. Thank y'all for what y'all do.
Yes, sir. That is
Thanks,
Kent Copeland. We love Kent. We love Clint. Cannot wait. Richard, you're going to be on the call for those semifinals and state championships. I know you're excited about it.
I know. I was excited last year. I was on the call with you for that championship with Heritage, Westminster Schools of Augusta, and then Brookstone and Pacelli. And then I get to be on the call for the semifinals, which is going to be awesome, especially on that Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning on GIAA.tv. I mean, starting with Grace Christian and Augusta Prep. We got the number 8 seed taking on the number 4 seed, and then followed by the defending champions Heritage taking on the newcomer LaGrange Academy.
I am really shocked right now. You had an opportunity to call me out, and you didn't. Because you went on about saying that, hey, major upset, Georgia Christian beat Grace Christian. Grace Christian beat Georgia Christian. And then I went on to say Grace Christian's the number 1 seed. After you had just said upset, then Kent comes on, I hear it, and I'm like, well, there we go. So I'm going to go and correct myself and say, hey, big upset. I'm really surprised you didn't call me out for that, Richard.
I just didn't even
listen and
cross my mind.
You could have, man. So I want to stand corrected. The number 1 seed is not in the 2A classification right now. It is the number 8 seed, Grace Christian, who beat Georgia Christian. That's going to be coming up this Friday, 10 o'clock. The number 8 seed taking on the number 4 seed in 2A in Augusta Prep Heritage. The defending champion taking on LaGrange. That's 2 versus 3. And then in the afternoon at 1 o'clock, Kings Academy, number 1, Tallulah Falls. And then 2:30, Brookstone and Pacelli. As Kent talked about, all 4 of those teams have a chance to win a state championship. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back from break, we're going to do the softball rankings, and then we'll get into football. It's Inside the GIAA here on GIAA.tv.
This copyrighted broadcast, presented exclusively on GIAA.tv, is copyrighted by the Georgia Independent Athletic Association, a division of the Georgia Independent School Association, for the private use of our audience. It may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the Georgia Independent School Association.
Welcome back, everyone, here to GIAA.tv, Inside the GIAA. Thrift Behringer, Richard Holdridge, Big Rich. Just throw it up there right now. Let's talk about softball rankings. All right, first up in the softball ranking in the 1A classification, we have, as I'm trying to get it up there on the screen, there it is, Citizens Christian, number 1, David Emanuel, number 2, Robert Toombs comes in number 3, Crisp Academy, number 4, Thomas Jefferson, number 5, Fullington Academy, number 6, Twiggs Academy, number 7, Westwood, number 8. All these teams would be in the playoffs of the 1A softball state championships held next week at South Commons. Richard, thoughts?
Yeah, Citizens Christian is the defending champions, and I honestly think that Crisp Academy, one of those teams, that's a sneaky team. You got to watch out for them because they ended up having a great final last year. Any one of these teams, including Twiggs Academy and Westwood, can make a deep run. But remember, it's a double elimination tournament, and these are going to be the 8 teams that we're going to see at South Commons in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it is, man. So those are your 1A. Let's go to 2A. 2A, Brentwood, number 1 team, 17-1. Southwest Georgia Academy, number 2. Looks like football almost. And then number 3, Southland. Just swap out Southland and Southwest Georgia, but still the same 3 teams, 17-7. Briarwood, 10-7, number 4. Gatewood, number 5, 11-8. Number 6, Windsor, 9-7. Edmund Burke comes in at number 7. And number 8, Trinity Christian. And there is your top 8 teams that would be playing for a state championship next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at South Commons.
Yeah, Brentwood's actually 18-1 now. I just wanted to make sure to get that updated. You know, they come in number 1. They did lose to Southwest Georgia Academy last year, and it was a tough game. Southwest Georgia Academy, they end up actually playing in the double elimination tournament at the South Complex and ended up winning. So they are the defending champions. But Brentwood, they lose to Trinity Christian, but they were able to defeat Edmund Burke. So, you know, they actually had a pretty good showing. I guess you could say they finished in 3rd place because they were on that final game after the if game. So, but I actually think when it's all said and done, Brentwood and Southwest Georgia Academy are going to be the 2 top teams left standing.
All right, in 3A classification, we have Westfield, 14-7. Number 2, Terrell Academy. Number 3, Pinewood. Number 4, John Millage. Number 5, Tift Area. Number 6, Athens Christian. Number 7, Valwood. And number 8, we had Piedmont. So here are your 3A softball programs that are going to be playing for the right in a state championship.
Thrift, 26-18. That was the score of the clinching game by Westfield School. They beat Piedmont which it's hard to believe. Piedmont was the runner-up last year, and they have a 2-19 record. But Westfield School has looked fantastic this year, and I think that they're going to repeat. The thing about Westfield School is that they are tested. They've taken on the number 1 team in 4A. They've taken on several teams in 4A in their region, including the runners-up. But actually, the number 1 and number 2 ranked teams in 4A, they're in the same classification with Westfield School. And I think that they're going to have a fantastic showing at South Commons. I could see a Westfield School, and I'm going to say it, Thrift, John Millage. John Millage is going to make a deep run in the playoffs. I just that there's something magical about what John Millage is doing, not just in football. We saw it with girls basketball, and I think we might see it in softball too.
Finally, in the 4A classification, the number 1 team in the entire GIAA is Calvary, 21-2 on the season. What a season for them. They just beat the defending state champion Tatnall the other night. Number 2, Strong Rock, in the same region as Calvary. Those 2 have battled it out. FPD, number 3, Tatnall, number 4, Loganville, 5, Bethlehem Christian, 6, George Walton, 7, who's been a perennial great 4A powerhouse. And then number 8 is Stratford. So here are your top 8 teams. Calvary, the favorite, but we got some good ones. Should be a lot of fun seeing the 4A classification.
Now, these aren't locked in yet because Calvary does have one more game this Friday. They are taking on Brookstone, which is also located in Columbus. Brookstone's the number 9 team. You don't think they're motivated to try to get a big win over the number 1 team in 4A that could plead their case to possibly leapfrog Stratford? I highly doubt. I was looking at the difference between Stratford and Brookstone. There's quite a difference. I think these are going to be the top 8 teams. Look out for George Walton. They got to the championship last year. Tatnall just lost a lot of firepower. They're not the same team as that nationally ranked team. Still good, though. Tatnall still has got a lot of talent, but I mentioned her last week. But no question about it, their best offensive player was I'm trying to get the Tatnall. Yeah,
Tatnall's having a great season though. 15-6, Richard. It's been really impressive to see how they played.
Their best player is Anna Still, but Grady Appling. Remember, she had 21 home runs last year.
Wow!
And so I wanted to make mention of that because they lost half of their offense,
and they're still one of the top teams. I cannot wait. And again, the final day of the regular season this Saturday. Richard, so we'll be able to hopefully see how the season plays out, and next week we'll have those brackets finalized live from South Commons. Final break of the show. When we come back, football rankings coming out. We're going to see who's number 1 in each classification here on Inside the GIAA. We'll be right back after this.
Founded in 1985, the Georgia Independent School Association proudly represents nearly 170 accredited private, independent, and parochial schools across the state. From Tallulah Falls to St. Simon's Island, from Columbus to Augusta, our schools serve over 76,000 students every year. Whether parents are interested in smaller class sizes, more individual attention, a religious-based curriculum, or a safe and structured environment, the GISA provides a strong education, which is the foundation for success. To learn more about the GISA and how they can serve your school, visit us online at www.gisaschools.org.
GIAA.tv now brings you more live coverage of more sports than ever before. Announcing GIAA.tv Lite with live coverage of swim, wrestling, cheer, and more. GIAA.tv Lite is the next best thing to being there. From one screen, you will hear the crowd, see the action, the scores, the stats, and more. With no play-by-play or instant replays, GIAA.tv Lite is half the price of our regular broadcast. Announcing GIAA.tv Plus. With all of your fan favorites, GIAA.tv Plus now adds volleyball, softball, all-star football, and more. Featuring all the play-by-play, instant replays, multiple angles, and more, all for less than the cost of 2 adult tickets to the event. Don't miss 1 second of the action all year long, only on GIAA.tv.
Welcome in, everyone, inside the GIAA. Thrift Behringer, Big Rich. Let's do it. Football rankings. You're here for it. 1A, Flint River staying at number 1, 4-2 on the season. Robert Toone stays at number 2. Eben Burke, number 2. Robert Toone's number 3. And Thomas Jefferson, number 4. Remember, there's only 4 teams in the 1A classification. And these would be the teams and how they make the playoffs. Remember the defending champion, Richard.
Yeah, Robert Toombs. And
wow.
Even though they are number 3, anything is possible. It's good to see Flint River back on top. I know that they had a tough time. They won the championship 2 years ago. They lost in the first round or the semifinals, whatever you want to call it, in last year's playoffs. But it should be a strong finish for all 4 teams.
2A, Brentwood, the defending champion. They look every bit like the defending champion, 7-1. Southland has surprisingly, they're a number 2. They've had an incredible year and really improved season from last year. Number 3, defending state runner-up, Southwest Georgia Academy. Number 4, Trinity Christian at 5-2. Briarwood comes in at number 5. Central Fellowship, number 6. Gatewood comes in at number 7. Richard. Number 8, Windsor. Number 9, Dominion Christian. And number 10, Heritage. All 10 of these teams would make the playoffs right now. And remember, 7 through 10 play first round. The top 6 teams all get a bye.
There is something brewing down in Americus, Georgia, and it is Southland coming up with a 5-2 record. Now, they have got a tough remaining 3 opponents. They take on the number 4 Trinity Christian this Friday. They take on Robert Toombs, and they also take on Southwest Georgia Academy. Look out for Southland Academy. They're kind of flying under the radar, but Brentwood is the defending champions for a reason. I think a team like Gatewood has always had success in 2A. They could be a team that could make some noise. And how about Heritage? First-year coach Levi Dunn. I know he's building something over there at Noonan, and just the fact that they have been improving and they were able to climb into the top 10 rankings in 2A.
Well, they have some tough games coming up, and them and Augusta Prep vying for that last spot. All right, let's go to the 3A classification. Number 1, John Milledge, the number 1 ranked team in the entire association. Number 2, Deerfield Windsor. I mean, how about that gauntlet that they've had, the defending state champion? Westville comes in at number 3, 5-2. They beat the number 2 team in 4A already. Number 4, the defending state runner-up, Valwood. Number 5, Frederica. Number 6, Pinewood. Number 7, Tift area. Number 8, Lakeview. Number 9, Terrell Academy. And number 10 is Piedmont. Brookwood and St. Andrews on the outside right now, looking in to try to get into the playoffs. Remember, top 6 teams get a bye in the first round. Tift area, Lakeview, Terrell, and Piedmont would all play on that Halloween night. Richard, 3A classification.
Yeah, look for that massive matchup in 2 weeks on the 17th when Deerfield Windsor takes on Valwood, which will be a rematch of the 3A state championship. I still think John Milledge, who only has 1 loss on the season, and it was to a GHSA school, they still got to play FPD on the road this Friday. And then they've got winnable games against Tatnall and Mount DeSales. I think John Milledge is primed to be the number 1 seed in 3A. And I think that John Milledge has got a decent path to get to Mercer. And then Westfield School, who plays a 4A school in Calvary Christian this Friday, that's going to be a team that can be tested. And I don't think they're going to fall from the rankings with their next 3 opponents because they're all 4A opponents. And I hope they like the city of Columbus because they're going back there. They're going there Friday, and they're going there on the 24th. And then they also get Brookstone at home. So the remaining 3 opponents for Westfield School are all Columbus schools. I love it. I know. Thrift.
4A classification. Let's get into it. The number 1 team, even after getting beat at home last week, but because of their strength of schedule, they are ranked number 1 coming in again this week, even though they got beat at home. Stratford. Number 2, FPD. But number 3 is Brookstone, who beat FPD at home, but FPD beat Stratford. Their 2 losses are to Brookstone and Westfield, but they do got to win over Pacelli and now Stratford. Number 4, defending champion Bullitt comes in. Number 5, you're wondering why is the team that's undefeated at number 5, where the strength of schedule is in the negative 16.
Not very good.
Number 6, Strong Rock. Number 7, Bethlehem Christian. Number 8, Calvary Christian, even though they just lost to Pacelli, who's number 9. And number 10, Loganville Christian. Athens Christian, right on the threshold of trying to get in. But it is a decent gap between them and Loganville, as Loganville, Calvary, Pacelli, and Bethlehem Christian all would be playing in the first round. The top 6 seeds would get that bye. Rich.
Yeah, even though Stratford is 5-2, the reason why they are number 1 is because of their strength of schedule. The teams in the lower tier of 4A, they have remaining. Mount DeSales, Tatnall, and they do play a team in the top 10 to close out the season, and that's Calvary Christian. But I really want to see how this Bullock Academy team, which, by the way, they play 2 more games. They're 8-0. They play Riverside Military Academy. That will be a winnable game. And then the showdown, George Walton taking on Bethlehem Christian Academy. And then, of course, the defending 4A champions, Bullock Academy. I'm really interested to see how this team right now ranked number 4, but they are the defending champions. Their only loss was to John Millage, but they take on Frederica, St. Andrews, and Pinewood. All of them are 3A and below. So,
and by the way, John Millage, who beat Stratford. Listen to who John Millage has beaten. They beat Stratford, by the way, and they're in the same region as Stratford. And
yeah,
FPD.
that's right.
But they beat Stratford. They've beaten Bullock. They've beaten Bethlehem Christian. They've beaten Brentwood, and now Stratford. They got FPD coming up next. And if FPD loses, I could see Brookstone moving up if they beat Pacelli. Stratford, those got 3 winnable games. I don't know if they don't lose again. I don't think they drop, and Stratford could be going in as the number 1 ranked team. Brookstone number 2, FPD potentially number 3, depending on how bad and what happens with John Millage, because they could beat John Millage because they're hosting them. But John Millage has just looked like world beaters right now.
Right.
And they're only lost this to Athens Academy, who is in the GHSA, Richard, who's a really good program.
Absolutely.
John Millage only lost. Brentwood has John Millage. Bullock only lost John Millage. Stratford, 1 of 2 losses, John Millage. So we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. And finally, in the 8-man football, Richard, we have our rankings. Number 1, Sherwood Christian. Number 2, Bedelia Heritage. Number 3, Westminster Schools of Augusta. Number 4, Georgia Christian. Number 5, Westminster Christian Academy. And number 6, Westwood. Those top 6 teams, Richard, all of them very high strength of schedule. Sherwood is right now above and beyond everyone else. Their strength of schedule is better. Their rating is at 55 right now. Sherwood is one of the top 8-man programs, I think, in the Southeast, maybe even in the country. Bedelia Heritage is not far behind them, though. And then there's a gap with Westminster, Georgia Christian, Westminster Christian Academy, and Westwood. David Emmanuel, number 7. Number 8, Monsignor Donovan. Number 9, Fullington. And number 10, Covenant. St. Mary's on the outside. Remember, top 10 teams in 8-man will play for the state championship coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah, I would expect Sherwood Christian, who's head and shoulders above everybody else, to win like they did last year. Sherwood Christian is a very talented team, but teams like Westminster Christian, Fullington, they're going to give them some fits. I can't wait for 8-man football. I'm trying to figure out, they will play on the 20th of November, and I know that the website did say site TBA. I know that
it actually will be at Mount DeSales.
Mount DeSales. Okay,
so that will be where the
awesome.
All-Star game, flag football, and 8-man state championships will be. And then 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A will all be at Mercer Stadium, 5-Star Stadium. And that is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, November 20, 21st, 22nd. Then coming up October 25th, we got the cross-country state championships, Richard, that will be held at Middle Georgia State University in Macon. Then we got coming up next week, softball. The week after that, Richard, this weekend, is volleyball coming up, which I can't wait for. And then cheerleading state championship. It comes up after football at Tatnall Square Academy in Macon, December the 6th. So can't wait for that, man. That's game day cheer. Competition cheer will be November the 8th at Tatnall Square Academy. Thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow everywhere on GIAA.tv. GIAAsports.org is the website to find all this wonderful information, from brackets to rankings to anything you need to know about game day operations that's happening for each of these state championship venues. We appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time on Inside the GIAA, and we will see you this Friday night at 11 o'clock for the for the High School Football Scoreboard Show on GIAA.tv, presented by the Beck Center. See you next time.